Hey YouTube, it's your boy Jerome coming to you today with a review for The Real Housewives of Potomac, Season 3, Episode 14. So, without further ado, let's get into the video. Okay, so the episode starts out with Ash. Well, it don't start out with Ash. I'm gonna start my review out with Ashley. Basically, Ashley is at her apartment and she calls her uncle, who she lets us know was like a father to her when she was growing up, since her father wasn't in her life. And then she also lets us know that he was battling cancer and he's been through chemo and all that kind of stuff. So at this point in his life, he has a no nonsense, no bullshit kind of personality, and he tells it how it is. So while she's on the phone with him, she's telling him about the conversation that she had with Michael, where Michael was basically letting her know that the reason that he doesn't want to have any kids with her is because, you know, he doesn't want her to be like her mother is on her with their kids. And I was so 100% completely here for what her uncle said, because it's the exact same thing that I've been thinking this whole time. Here you have Michael, who is an older man. I don't really know how old Michael is, but Michael has grown kids. And for me, I wish Michael would just come out and tell Ashley, like, yo, babe, I don't want any other kids because I already have grown kids. Why the fuck do I want to start over again with a baby? So basically, that's what her uncle told her. And also, her uncle feels like Michael is using Ashley to be a trophy wife, which I can 100% see that too. So I was like 100% completely here for what her uncle said. Like, he has you as a trophy wife and this man does not. I mean, Michael don't want to fucking start over and have no motherfucking kids with Ashley. Like, Ashley's a good time for him. And, Michael just, I really don't believe Michael wants to have any kids. I don't believe he wants to start over. Like I said, his kids are grown. I don't see Michael wanting to start over from age 0 and go another 18 years with another child. So Ashley has a lot of stuff that she has to think about, because like she said again, that kids are non-negotiable for her because that's something that she wants. But I feel like Ashley has to wake up, smell the coffee, and look at it. Again, Michael does not want any other kids. So it's probably time for Ashley to fucking move on from Michael. I know that, like, shit, girl, you get some money out of your prenup. It helps you. So you get some money if you divorce him. So I think Ashley might need to weigh her options and see that Michael does not, again, Michael don't want no motherfucking kids with her. He don't want no kids, period. So Ashley, it might be time for you to suck it up, say it is what it is, and I gotta move the fuck on and live my life and be happy and have the kids that I want to fucking have, that I'm not gonna have with Michael. So take your money and run, girl. Take the money, please. All right, so next we get Candace. Basically, with Candace, her storyline it's draining as fuck to me. Like, for real. Like, I'm over Candace. Like, I even tweeted this. Like, I tweeted Bravo and Andy. I know the Real Housewives of Potomac has gotten picked up for season 4. Please do not bring fucking Candace back. Like, this is a child. Like, I think Candace is my age because I'm 28 years old. I'll be 29 next month. And I think Candace is my fucking age. But, girl, you need to grow the fuck up and listen to what people are telling you sometimes. So she and Chris are at her apartment, and they're going over the wedding, her guest list and all that kind of stuff. And then while they're going over the guest list, she's up there talking about, she's putting lines through people that she may not invite. And Chris was just like, why don't you just cross them out altogether? And then she's talking about, if she crosses them out, that's final, and she doesn't feel like it's final with her drawing a line through it. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, I really can't. I mean, I wanted to like Candace from the beginning, but her storyline is playing itself out. It's running thin, and it's driving me crazy just sitting here listening to her. Because while they're sitting there talking about the guest list, Chris asked her, has she contacted her dad? Because she lets us know in her interview, in her confessional, that her mom was giving her $100,000, and then her mom wanted her to go to her dad to get $20,000, and then she said that she and Chris together were putting, I guess together they're putting 20,000 together, or I don't know if it's 20,000 from Chris or 20,000 from her. Again, I don't really give a shit about that. But while she's sitting there with Chris is just trying to put something in her brain that all this shit that you want is not within the budget. Like, if you want it, ask your daddy for motherfucking money. But let's be realistic and all that. Chris is just trying to be realistic with this girl about, let go of some stuff. Because, again, it's not in a fucking budget. So, while they're sitting there, she calls her dad on FaceTime. And, she lets us know that her dad is an ER physician. And that she's actually her dad's only child. So, I guess she kind of felt like she got him wrapped around her finger and all that kind of stuff. So when she calls her dad, she asks her dad, is there any way that he can increase the $20,000 that he's giving her to a little bit more? And her daddy tells her, nah, he can't do it. It's not in the budget. And I was so completely here for her daddy telling her no. Because it's like, when it comes down to Candace, like all that shit that she wants in that fucking wedding, it's pointless. It's meaningless and all that kind of shit. Like, you can have the biggest, most extravagant wedding. That does not mean that your marriage is gonna be shit. Like, you can have the cheapest fucking wedding, and that still don't mean your wedding is gonna be your marriage is gonna be anything. Like, I get that she wants so much stuff, but again, you have to stick with inside the budget of what you can afford. Like, don't try to live on $1 million budget, but you only got a $500,000. But don't try to go live on $1 million budget, but you only worth $500,000. It just ain't gonna work itself out. Like, be realistic, Candace. Like, I just don't understand it when it comes to her. Like, you want to be bougie, but you ain't got the money to be bougie. Like, it makes no sense to me. Like, I'm still trying to figure Candace out, and I'm actually still trying to figure out why the fuck did they cast her for this show. Like, she is doing nothing and bringing nothing to the show besides this bullshit ass wedding that she needs to cut down on her budget and what she wants. Like, girl, be realistic. Get what you can afford. Like, it's common sense. Really. Alright, so next we get this in with Candace. She's meeting Ashley at Oz. And Candace's whole thing with Ashley is she feels like that when Candace is around, not Candace, but Ashley's around Gizelle and Robin, that those two green-eyed bandits, change who Ashley is. Which I don't feel that way. I feel like when Ashley's around Robin and Gizelle, I feel like she's herself a little bit, but she does put on a little bit extra when she's around Robin and Gizelle. But I still think that you are getting the real Ashley. And, last week I was looking at Twitter. Those two, Ashley tweeted something about Candace, but she posted it and deleted it. But by that point, Candace had already saw it and she responded to it. So I am completely interested to see how this reunion is going to go, because I know right now that those two might not be on the best terms with each other. So I'm really interested to see how this reunion go. So they sit down and they start having a discussion. Ashley is asking Candace about the wedding, and I forgot to mention that when I was talking about Candace, that her wedding, her guest list included 400 people, and her dad, when she was talking to her daddy, he said that her mama wanted him to give $50,000, which he wasn't doing that. So Ashley was asking Candace how everything was going with the wedding planning and how things were going with Chris. And, basically, Candace was giving her bullshit response about what's going on between her and Chris. And, how Chris had, when he first got his first marriage, it was a simple wedding. But, she wants this extravagant ass wedding. And there's nothing wrong with wanting a nice wedding. Nothing wrong with that at all. But, again, you have to live inside your means. You can't live above your means, boo. Like, you got to stay within what you can afford. And I think I know that's what Chris is trying to get her to understand. And that's what's causing a rift and a little division between those two, is the fact that she's so pig-headed, she's so stubborn, she's so spoiled and all this shit that she doesn't want to hear what he's saying. She just wants somebody to say yes, yes, yes to her instead of her and telling her no, that you got to stick within whatever I'm telling you that I'm paying for. Like, I don't get why that's so hard for Candace. But while they're talking about that, Candace asked her, because Ashley was actually sitting there telling her about, people ain't gonna remember the flowers, the trees, and none of that shit. And then Candace like, well, if she was at a wedding, she would remember that. I'm like, really, girl? Like, come on, be realistic about this shit. Ain't nobody gonna remember that motherfucking shit. Ain't nobody gonna remember that shit. Like, what the fuck? Who the hell is gonna remember that? Like, all people want to remember is that you had a beautiful wedding and that you got married. That's it. That's all that matters. None of the other shit matters. So put that shit to the side. So they're sitting there talking, And Candace asked Ashley about what's going on between her and Michael. And Ashley once again tells her, everything that's going on with her and Michael, about, how Michael told her about him not wanting her to be like her mother is with their kids. And Candace basically 100% agreed with what her uncle said, because she verbatimly repeated almost what he said, that, Michael might not want to have any other kids. He already has grown kids, so he might not want to have any. And again, this is something that Ashley has to sit down and think about, if this is going to be, if she's okay with sacrificing not having kids to be with Michael, or if she wants kids and she has to leave Michael to fulfill herself as a woman and whatnot. So that was pretty much it with Candace and Ashley meeting up with each other. Okay, so while I'm on the subject of Candace, I'm actually going to skip to the end of the episode, which is 10 hours after the Congressional Black Caucus after party, which I'll get into that a little later in the video. So basically, when that scene came on, it showed 10 hours later, and it was at Candace's and what's his name? Chris's home. And on the kitchen counter, you had Candace's not wedding ring, but her engagement ring. And then you have her in the bathroom crying, and then you got Chris sitting there. So basically, I guess they got into it after the after party. And she was talking about how Chris was talking to her, and she didn't appreciate some of the things that he said to her. So sorry if I'm loud. I don't mean to be loud, but this scene really pissed me off. Because originally, when she was saying that Chris said something to her that she didn't appreciate, I'm sitting here thinking like, oh, hell nah. I'm like, I know this nigga didn't, well, he's not a nigga, but I'm like, I know this nigga didn't call her out of her name, call her like a bitch, a hoe, a slut, a skank, a nigga, anything like that, a monkey, any of that kind of shit that's derogatory. I'm like, hell no. So I was ready to get on Twitter and find him on Twitter and light his ass the fuck up, until Candace sat there and said, while wiping her eyes and all this kind of shit, that he called her spoiled, a princess, and a brat. I'm like, are you fucking joking with me right now? You got to be motherfucking joking with me. I'm like, no. Like, what the fuck? You are spoiled. You are a brat. You are a little princess. Like, what the fuck did you, like, you got mad at him because of that? Like, he told you how it is. And basically, that's what Chris said. Like, he gonna always call her out on her shit. And I'm here for that. Like, call her out on her shit. Like, I guess her mama didn't do it to her. No offense to her mother, but I'm guessing her mama ain't never called her out on her shit. And I am so happy that Chris did it. Like, it's about time. Like, he needs to do that. I would look at Chris differently if he married this girl who is a spoiled little brat and never said anything to her about it and just catered to her. Like, what the fuck? Like, he would be a weak ass man for doing that. So I was 100% here for him with that scene. Like, what? And then, basically, she took a low blow with Chris, because all Chris did, and the whole thing was, Chris was, I think Chris said he was on a phone call or something, and, Candace wanted him to hold her purse, and he told her to hold it herself, and, instead of, him holding it and telling her to hold it, I guess she threw a little hissy fit or something like that, and that's why he called her a spoiled brat. And then, I guess she must have texted him and compared him to his dad, who's a deadbeat and all that kind of stuff, and that's what really pissed Chris off. Like, I call you a spoiled brat, but then you compare me to my dad, who's a deadbeat. Like, that's low and fucked up of her to do that. Like, what the fuck? Like, he told you exactly what you are, a spoiled little self-entitled princess, and you go and take a low blow at him. Like, if I was Chris, I would be looking at her completely differently. And I'm still surprised that he wants to marry her, but maybe Chris really does love Candace, but she needs to grow the fuck up. I think Candace is either 28, 29, or 30. Candace needs to grow the fuck up completely, because that shit is uncalled for, and she is uncalled for. Like, what the fuck? Bravo, again, Andy Cohen, whoever, do not bring her back next season, because she she serves no purpose on this show whatsoever, in my personal opinion. Sorry if anybody likes her, but I just don't feel like she has any purpose on this show whatsoever. This scene where you have Robin and Charisse. They're going out for dinner, and when they get there, I guess this is a vegan restaurant because I believe Robin is a vegan and Charisse is a vegan. Interesting. Would have never guessed for Charisse to be a fucking vegan, but if you say so. Really want to saw that shit. But moving on from that. So when they sit down, basically Charisse once again apologizes to Robin for, going to Monique's event and not actually coming to Robin's event because she didn't realize, how much Robin had put into her event and all that kind of stuff. Which, this is leaving a bad taste in my fucking mouth to even say I am on Charisse's side. Ew. So, I don't feel like Charisse owes Robin an apology at all because Charisse let us know and let Robin know that, Monique had asked her to come to the event before Robin even asked her to come to her event. So Charisse was just, being honest with her word and all that kind of stuff. And I 100% respect Charisse for that. Like, you gave you gave Monique your word that you were gonna come to her event, and you stayed true to it. You didn't say, hey, I told you I was coming to your event, but since me and Robin have been friends for 14 years, I'm just gonna say fuck you and go to her event. I'm so happy that Charisse didn't do that because that shows what kind of I can't say it. That shows what kind of person Charisse is. That leaves a horrible taste in my mouth. Really leaves a bad taste in my mouth to say that about Charisse. But like I said, I don't believe that Charisse owes Robin any kind of apology. So while they're sitting there, they do bring up the subject of Monique. And basically, Robin's whole thing is that she feels like Monique has been a social climber. And then Charisse was like, yeah, she kind of sees it because with the Hurricane Harvey event that Monique had, she invited all of Charisse's friends. And then at her event that she had, she invited Kendall, who even Robin said that they all basically met Kendall through Charisse. So Charisse really doesn't know how to feel about Monique right now because she kind of starting to look at Monique differently, and she feels like Monique might be using her to climb up the social ladder in Potomac, which I really don't know how to feel about that because, when it comes down to stuff like that, you do network with people to move up, but with this, you can look at it multiple ways. So I really don't know how to feel about that. But, Charisse is like, she'll have a conversation with Monique at a later date when, she feels that the time is right. And I guess it'll just be her and Monique one-on-one, which I 100% respect that. Like, if you have a problem with her, don't do it in front of a group setting with all the girls around. Just talk to her one-on-one and feel her out. And I really do, I respect that about Charisse. So I guess her and Robin are going to be good going forward since she's apologized to Robin once again, which I don't believe she owed Robin any kind of fucking apology. Robin is just childish as fuck. Like, to believe that just because y'all been friends for 14 years, just because you guys have been friends for 14 years, you feel like she owes you an obligation to come to your event instead of somebody that she already promised that she would come to the event. Like, Robin, get the fuck out of here. Like, that's high school, middle school, petty ass shit. Like, the woman went somewhere that she gave her word. Like, fuck you, Robin. You are too old for that bullshit. Okay, and then I'll go with how the episode started. So the episode actually started where it ended last week, which was with Robin and Giselle walking into Karen's O Gala. So once they get there, they see Karen and they walk up to Karen and basically they want to have a conversation with Karen right, at that moment. But respectfully, they did not want to do it in front of her guests. They want to pull Karen to a side room to have a conversation with her. But Karen is like, oh no, we're not going to have a conversation right now. We're going to wait until it's over, to after you've ate and all that kind of stuff, and then we'll talk. But again, they are insistent that they talk to Karen right then and there. And Karen, she's like, oh no, she's not here for that and all that kind of stuff. And she's, calling for security, security. And, she wants Robin and Gizelle escorted out of the, out. And security does come and they are escorted out. So when they're escorted out, Ashley and Charisse come up to them and ask them, what's going on. And they tell her basically everything that, they want to come and talk to Karen about everything, about her being a liar and all that kind of stuff. Giselle's whole, and actually Giselle didn't even really mention the whole Kendall thing. Anytime she talked about Kendall this whole episode, she kind of brushed Kendall off as if Kendall wasn't something that was a big deal to her. But last episode, when you and Robin were having dinner, that was your whole problem, was that she invited Kendall to the event. So, like I said, Giselle is telling Charisse how Karen lied, how she RSVP'd to Robin's event, but then she backtracked and pussy popped and went to Monique's event. So that's what their whole thing is. And then, Charisse apologizes to Robin for not coming to her event and all that kind of stuff. And, they want to bring up again how they've been friends for 14 years and all this kind of stuff. And I was once again here for Charisse. Like, what the fuck? Like, she gave her word to Monique. So why would you want her to go back on her word if she told the girl she was coming? Like, it's stupid, it's childish, and it's petty. And, basically Charisse told them fuck them, that she didn't want to argue with them and all that kind of shit. And she went back inside, which I was completely on Charisse's side. Like, why y'all being so childish about an event? Like, she was double booked, so she would have been in a horrible place regardless if she went to Robin's event and not went to Monique's event, or if she went to Monique's event and not, and not, like, either way it go, it was a lose-lose situation for Charisse. Like, Robin is petty as fuck. Like, how old is Robin? Like, what? Come on, girl. Grow the fuck up. So, back in the event, you have Karen, well, I guess Carson Kressley was hosting the event, and you got Karen up there. She's giving her little speech about Alzheimer's and all that kind of stuff. And then you got everybody at their tables. And I know I think it was Charisse who asked Kendall, did Giselle speak to her or anything? And Kendall was like, Giselle saw her, but she didn't say anything to her. And I'm thinking to myself, why the fuck would she say anything to you in the first place? Like, she don't know you. Like, girl, fuck you. Get the fuck out of here. And then at the other table, I know you have Ashley and Michael there, and you have Monique and Chris, and they're once again talking about Karen having them donate to her Icon Enterprises and all that kind of stuff. And I really didn't catch it until Michael kept saying Icon. She conned y'all asses. Like, she got y'all good. Like, I bet you that money didn't go to no good cause. Like, I really do. Seriously, don't believe that money went anywhere but to Karen's fucking pockets. I would hope she would have donated some of it to Alzheimer's, but when it comes to Karen Huger, who the fuck knows? Because the woman is a pathological fucking liar. Like, y'all can't believe shit that Karen says, to be honest with you. And then we get another scene where you got Karen, Monique, and Candace. They're all going to work out. And basically the reason why Karen is working out with these two is because she doesn't feel like those two are judging her at all. She feels like they give her a fair chance and all that kind of stuff. And, while they're there, they are talking about her event and what happened with her, Robin and Giselle. And she's giving her side of the story, about how they want to talk to her and all that kind of stuff. But she felt like that wasn't the time or the place for them to, try to come and talk to her and all that kind of stuff. And, she's talking about how they looked and all that kind of stuff. And, that's, Karen is going to be Karen. And she's going to deflect. Pretty much that's all Karen does is deflect. And they ask her about the Kendall situation. And basically, when she was talking about the Kendall thing, she was talking about she's known Kendall longer than she's known Giselle, which ain't nobody arguing that anything is wrong with that. The thing was that you knew that Kendall was married to Sherman, and they're divorced, and you also know that you knew at that time that Giselle and Sherman were dating. So it's not the fact that you've known Kendall longer, it's the fact that you were being messy as fuck by inviting that girl to that event that you knew that you had invited Giselle to. That's the problem, Karen. Nothing about you. It's not even about you knowing her. Like, you were just being messy as fuck. And she's talking about it was innocent, But I'm like, that shit wasn't innocent, Karen. Like, you knew what you was doing. You were trying to get back at Giselle for all the shit that she's probably said about Uncle Grandpa. Like, just own up to it and be honest about that shit. And then, while they're talking about the her event, the producers are asking her how much money was donated to the event. And in true typical Karen fashion, she is talking around it and basically not trying to, she didn't tell them how much was donated. She's like, oh, they can look on the website and find out how much was donated. And I'm like, really, Karen? Come on. Like, stop being a liar. And then, she's talking about how the girl's talking about she's, I really don't get it with Karen. Like, you put on all these airs and shit, but you full of shit. Like, what the fuck, Karen? Like, I don't understand Karen. Like, she gets on my, I like her sometimes, but when it comes to her deflecting and lying and giving all the bullshit answers, that's when I'm like, you know what? I'm done with Karen. I can't fuck with Karen because you'll never get the truth from her one way or the other. Like, it's like pulling fucking teeth when it comes to Karen and the truth. And I also found it funny how, when because Monique was the one that asked Karen, what was up with the whole Kendall situation. And I really found it funny that Monique said that, she would never invite, despite all the things that's happened between her and Giselle, that she would not invite Giselle and Kendall to an event together. And I'm kind of looking at her kind of like, really? You wouldn't? Like, aren't you the one that has filmed with this girl so far? Like, aren't you the one that went and told Ashley all the information that you knew about Sherman getting head in the park in the car? Okay, Monique, if that's what you want us to believe, we believe it. Not really, but we believe it, girl. We really do believe it. Okay, so next we get Giselle. So Giselle is at her house, and basically Giselle is talking about, how she is not going to spend all her time trying to focus on Sherman and all that kind of stuff, and how she's just going to focus on her business, her kids, and whatever else, her book. So pretty much that's all she's going to do. So, like I said, she's at her home, and she has an intern come over who's actually one of her sorority sisters, and she's planning an event that she's having for the CBC, the Congressional Black Caucus, and every hue is going to be there. So she's talking to the young lady, and basically she's just planning out everything that she wants to do for the Congressional Black Caucus, this event. And she's telling the girl, like, hey, don't you want to write that down and stuff like that? And the little girl's like, oh no, I'm putting it in my phone. And she was like, well, most people use a notepad and stuff, which that is true, because I actually use a notepad. Like, if you can see, I wrote out all my notes. So I thought that was funny, because sometimes I do use my phone, but I find it easier to use pen and paper. And because what the little girl said made a lot of sense. You'll put your paper down, put the pad down, but you won't put your phone down and leave it. But in my case, I do both. Sometimes I can put the pen and pad down and forget it. Hell, sometimes I put my phone down and forget it. Hell, I put my keys down sometimes and forget where I put my keys. So either way I go, I put shit down and completely forget where I put the shit. So, but that's it with that action. And then that little girl looked so completely unenthused by all the stuff that Giselle was talking about. But I bet you it's because she wasn't getting paid. Because if you're getting paid for some shit, you're going to be all up in it and all that kind of stuff. So I bet you that little girl wasn't getting paid for that shit. Like, ha. But, she's in school. She's an intern. So, I was in school, had an internship, didn't get paid that much for that internship, and actually sucked shit. Like all I did was file fucking papers and printed out shit. Not the best internship that I've ever had in my life. So I would not complain if I was doing that and then I'm on TV. Like, bitch, what? Say what? Shut your mouth and call me motherfucking Sue. Alright, so then we get this scene where you have Gizelle meeting up with Ashley and they're doing Pilates and Robin joins them. So, while they're doing the Pilates and talking, Charisse calls Robin on FaceTime, and she once again, apologizes to Robin and all that kind of stuff, about what happened, and she apologized about what happened the night before, and basically she tells Robin that she wants to sit down and have dinner with her, which I've already covered that, and they hang up and they say they'll, let her know when they're gonna do dinner and all that kind of shit, and Ashley takes it upon herself to ask Gizelle and Robin what happened at Karen's party and all that kind of stuff. And once again, it's the whole spiel of Karen being a fucking liar and, her RSVPing for Robin's event and actually going to Monique's event instead. And again, same bullshit. Karen being a liar, which we all know that. Karen's a motherfucking liar. Like, I don't know why they act so surprised when they find out that Karen has lied about something. It's like, oh, Karen lied. Like, she's lied about everything since season 1, so I don't get why y'all be so in y'all feelings about that. And then also while they're sitting down, Gizelle asked Ashley and Robin, are they coming to her CBC event? And they both agree that they're going to come to the event and all that kind of stuff. And then also while they are on the subject of Karen and her event, Gizelle asked Ashley if they came to any conclusion about where the money went to, if it went to the Alzheimer's charity, or if it went to Karen. And Ashley said no, they really didn't find out anything like that. And then they basically just talk about Karen not setting up her whatever kind of form you have to set up for a nonprofit and all that kind of stuff. Because they talking about it don't take that long to set it up, which I know it doesn't take that long to set that stuff up. So when it comes to Karen, like, again, Karen is really confusing because she's full of shit. She fucking lies and all that kind of stuff. So I really do see what they mean, what they be talking about when it comes down to Karen Huger, because Karen Huger is once again a motherfucking liar. Like, the bitch lies. And they also talk about Karen inviting what's that girl named, Kendall, to the event. And basically Gizelle is kind of just brushing over it as if Kendall don't mean shit to her. But I'm like, yeah, I mean, she might not mean anything to her like that, but Karen inviting that girl to that event, it kind of rattled Giselle's cage and all that kind of stuff. But I guess Gizelle just put on the front trying to make it seem like it didn't bother her, but we clearly know it did bother her. And I mean, I would respect Gizelle if she just be like, it kind of bothered me that Karen invited her and me at the same time. And I guess Gizelle didn't find out till the day before the event, which now that is fucked up if she didn't find out till the day before the event. Like, damn, Karen, you could have told her long before that you had already invited that bitch to the event. But again, it's Karen. She lies and she's gonna do whatever Karen wants to do. So suck it up and let it go. And next we have Gizelle at the CBC event. So you have Ashley there, you have Robin there, and you have Charisse there in support of Gizelle. And she has her little booth there, and she has people coming up to her booth and they're just matching their skin tone up with her their I don't know anything about makeup, but they're matching their skin tone up with the foundation and stuff, I guess. I'm not quite sure. Again, I don't know anything about makeup, so that's pretty much it, because the next is going to roll into the next with Monique and Karen. So I'll get into that in just a few seconds. But shout out to Gizelle for this every hue, because it's in Target and she has her online stuff. So shout out to Gizelle for that. Like, for real, completely shout out to her. I respect her hustle with this one, because that's good. And then lastly, we got Monique and Karen on a fucking bullshit of the episode. So Karen goes over to Monique's house. Monique's brother is there to put up the finishing touches on her Not for Lazy Mom website. So basically they're getting ready to go to the same event that Giselle's at, the Congressional Black Caucus event. So Karen has to let us know that she met Uncle Grandpa there 20 years ago. And, you know, they're going there because, you know, Monique has her Not for Lazy Moms website coming, and Karen has her icon. So they feel like this is a good networking opportunity for them. So they get there, and when they walk in there, they completely walk right by Giselle's booth, and they go, you know, walking around, and they met one of I think it was Monique's church members, and they have a conversation with her and all that kind of stuff. And then, you know, they walk by and they get ready to leave, but they get stopped by Robin and Ashley, who speak to them and say, hey, you know, we're over here, did you not see us, and all that kind of stuff. And they're like, oh no, we didn't see you over there. But y'all are completely fucking lying, because y'all took a beeline right past the bitch. Like, y'all could have stopped by and just said, hey, you know, I see you here, I support you, and move it on, keep it moving. But instead, they had to fucking lie and say that they didn't see him. And I was actually completely 100% here when Candace came in there, and I was really surprised that Candace came in support of Giselle. Like, I really was surprised with all the shit that's gone on between them. And then they asked Candace when she came in there, well, did you see us? She said, yeah. And then she was like, well, they were like, well, you know, Karen and Monique said that they didn't see us, but you could see us, right? And she was like, yeah. Like, that was complete fucking bullshit. And, you know, Robin walks over there where Karen and Monique is, and she's talking to them and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, Karen starts to walk away and all this kind of stuff. And, you know, Robin is calling her a liar and all this kind of stuff. And then Karen's talking about, you know, nobody's ever caught her in a lie. And I'm like, girl, shout out to Forest Rocks, because like she always says, a lie don't care who tell it. Like, Karen, you know good goddamn well you lying through your teeth. You lying about not seeing Giselle, and you lying about not ever lying. Like, girl, get the fuck out of here with that shit. Like, so, and then Sharice was, like I said, Sharice was there, and she said that, you know, her own friend Monique didn't even speak to her and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, she's like, she's finally seeing coming to see the light about Monique, and that, you know, she might be a social climber and all this kind of stuff, and that she's gonna have to sit down and have a conversation with Monique at some point. So that was Real Housewives of Potomac. Like the video, leave your comments, and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys later.